I think we're live.
Oh, okay, cool.
Well, recorded live.
Well, you know.
Pre-recorded live.
Well, currently we are live, but
We're
not
talking in
live.
real time, but when you see it, it won't be real time.
That's true.
It'll be in the past.
So what are we talking about today?
Well, it sounds like we're talking about the multiverse. Canon events, apparently.
Oh, Jesus.
This video is a canon event.
That's a shitty canon event.
You never know.
That's true.
This could be the one and only meaningful canon event for all existence.
really just like skyrockets us.
Yeah. So, today's movie day. Before we get started, because I always like to go down the road and not do my due diligence, this is a time I would like to say welcome to Dapper Devils podcast, episode number 5. Yeah, I was going to say, is it 5? Take a quick moment to say thank you to our sponsors, Pixel Popcorn Media Group, James Thomas Productions, Unscripted Studios, and today my consciousness is only being elevated by more caffeine, so whatever that means to you guys. I'm like a couple sips away from Tweakville, so
Oh, nice.
yeah.
Better than Shitville.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's usually what happens. I just smell coffee and it's go run for the gates. Like when the gun shoots off and the rabbit starts going around the track for the dog race.
But the rabbit is your shit.
Yes, yeah. Like I actually I don't even have to smell the coffee. That's a lie. I wake up, I think coffee in my brain,
And your body goes, shit number 1.
yeah. It's like go to the toilet, bro. Do not pass go or crap yourself on the way to the coffee machine. It's like the daily choices that I have. So hopefully y'all have better pedigrees with your bung holes.
Be like Peggy. That golden butthole woman's never shit herself or accidentally squeezed a fart that became a shit.
I mean, it's either that's true or
I think she's a liar.
or we can't admit to ourselves that we shit our pants in adulthood.
Oh, I can.
Well, no, I can.
Yeah.
I'm talking about your mom. Like
wow.
she cannot admit
Well, she'd be embarrassed by it because she knows
that
I
she
would
soiled
never
the
let her live it
britches.
down.
Well, yeah.
Like, who's gonna if your own mom was like, oh yeah, like I accidentally shit myself, you're not gonna be like, it happens. You're gonna be like, you fucking disgusting bitch. You're gonna make fun of her.
I mean, I would absolutely come home with a giant like box of Depends from Costco. Like your continence has gone, Mom. Here.
Which, okay,
Here's a gift.
in her defense too, having quote unquote never shit herself, I know for a fact she would never tell me if she did because, about at least 15 or more years ago, maybe 20, we were living in Thousand Oaks and she dropped barbecue sauce, hit the ground, and it exploded. Didn't find it anywhere. We looked up and it was on the ceiling.
All right.
To this day, I will make that joke and be like, careful now. Like, don't want it to end up on the ceiling again. So that's why I know, like, if she ever actually shit herself, she would never tell me.
I'm trying to process the physics of this barbecue sauce thing.
I could not tell you. So basically,
Is it like it was like that giant
like a Sweet Baby Ray's bottle.
cum geyser scene from that thing that
From Devilman Crybaby.
Yeah.
Basically.
Okay.
But yeah, basically like typical like Sweet Baby Ray's style bottle. Dropped it because I think she was going to cap it and then it just fell out of her hand. Landed on the bottom and apparently all that force, she's like 5'2", so it didn't drop that far. But all that force apparently launched it onto the ceiling, which I think in that particular area was like 8 feet, maybe 9.
Huh.
But
Okay.
yeah. So anyways, movies.
Yeah. I don't really care where we start. There's 3 on the docket today. Maybe I guess we can start with Disney's debacle.
Yeah, just get it out of the way.
Elemental. Was it? It was Pixar? Yeah?
Yeah, I believe so.
Elemental. So I didn't have any expectations for any of these movies,
Nope.
honestly. Maybe indie because
It's indie.
there's a pedigree of those movies existing, so you kind of have certain tropes you expect.
Or standards.
But with this Elemental, all I expected was that hopefully the animation is good,
Story
and
would be
hopefully
good.
the story is good.
Which-
The animation was good.
I liked the animation for sure. Like, I thought it was really cool, especially with the fire girl. I don't remember her name. I gotta be honest. Ember.
Yeah, that sounds right, Ember.
No, I mean, like, all the physics I think were really cool with just the particles and all that. But, like, because you and I, but we don't watch any trailers if we can, just because
Right.
we want to be as surprised and going with zero expectations. It's the fairest way to judge a movie. I think we saw maybe one trailer when we saw Little Mermaid with your kids,
Probably.
but that trailer definitely makes it seem like a different movie.
Well, yeah. Okay, so, and it's, I mean, forever in time, this is the storyline of potential racism will exist.
Sure.
I mean, it exists heavily in One Piece, which I'm reading. It
With all the
exists.
fishmen.
It's a very prevailing storyline because it's something that I feel like
Everyone is aware of.
they're aware of, but I don't know that it'll ever stop being a societal issue if there is at least one person left in the household to perpetuate the stupidity finds its way into a new generation.
Right.
And so, and I also don't know that I think that the government benefits from us all getting along.
Well, no.
So that, I mean, that's a far-reaching conspiracy theory. We won't really go into that. But so, yeah, the preview made it seem as though this was going to be a movie that was dealing with, like, racial...
Segregation, yeah.
Yeah, like,
Well,
because
like,
the girl's a fire...
Yeah, she's got, like, what is it, like Fireland, basically,
Mm-hmm.
Waterville, Earthtopia.
Yeah, it's like Captain Planet deconstructed, and then every region is a part of his...
Just no love.
Yeah, no heart. There's no heart.
That's what it
which
was.
is what that movie was lacking.
Ooh, damn. Accurate, though.
So, but, you know, it was almost more like a Romeo and Juliet.
That's
type of-
actually a really good explanation of what that movie was. Because, yeah, it's like two different households. They don't get along. Which it's like...
Yeah, and it's just
Yeah.
because... Yeah, so...
One's fire, one's water.
Right. And so, you know, they forced that dynamic. The water guy is super understanding,
Well, yeah.
and he like pushes through and keeps pushing to try to get her to realize that, hey, let's let love conquer this difference. And so I think thematically that's where they were going with the whole thing, and they did it okay.
It was all right.
But it was just not like, it wasn't very compelling.
No.
Like the whole time.
Well, especially for a Pixar movie. I looked it up afterwards. I don't recall what the actor's name was. For that entire movie, though, I was like, is the water guy Jack McBrayer?
Oh, is that who you said is Gruber or whatever?
No, that's Will Forte.
Oh.
Different guy. Both were on SNL, though. Jack McBrayer is, he's Kenneth from 30 Rock, the page. But for like that entire movie, I was like, is that Kenneth? And it's not.
Yeah, I was gonna say he has a very
Distinct.
distinct like pitch in his
Yes.
voice during. No matter how he changes it, he can't hide that one part.
Well, yeah, same with Will Forte. But yeah, I mean, overall, Elemental it felt long.
It did feel long, and it wasn't that long.
No, and also surprisingly, because like, I mean, I would say Pixar is usually pretty good with it, but like, there weren't a lot of jokes in general, and if they were there, they weren't that good. I think.
Yeah, I don't. If there was the subverted humor in it, I don't really know that I caught it.
I don't think there really was though, which to me is what makes those movies great.
Well, yeah, I think, especially because Shrek.
Shrek's fantastic.
For me, I feel like that's the first time I really remember a movie flipping
Like
it on its
pushing the
head,
script and
then going, let's give the adults some breadcrumbs of stuff in here for them to like
I know,
enjoy.
like, cartoons like the Animaniacs would do a lot of that stuff before, but yeah, as far as like a movie, I think, I mean, it's been done before, obviously, but like I feel, yeah, I agree with what you're saying. Like, Shrek kind of like really pushed it forward. Like, let's get as close to the line as we can.
Yeah, like that whole movie is like just chock
Yeah.
full of stuff, and then it's weird, that movie and then American Pie, the very first
Yeah.
one. Those two movies changed me
Shrek and American Pie.
a lot. Yeah.
I mean, both are really good.
Because American Pie, I was in high school, and
Right.
I remember like this was the very first time that I realized people thought vulgarity was really hilarious,
Because it is.
and I was like, oh. I have so much training in this department,
Well, right.
and so then I would just start, like, we'd go out in public with my friends, and I'd just start going crazy, and they're all cracking up to the point we're almost getting kicked out of these restaurants because I'm just being an ass. But but they thought it was funny, and I thought it was funny.
Right.
And that's like what American Pie really gave to me. Shrek gave me you can
Subtlety.
yeah, it's like you can also be clever and funny,
Yeah.
not just
You
an
can be,
asshole.
You can be hilarious, but you can do it in a way that people don't even know that you're making fun of them.
Right.
Yeah.
So anyways, Elemental, Pixar. I don't like to assign numbers to a movie.
Sure.
I would just assign it as don't see it.
I wait till Disney Plus or whatever it's going to be on.
Oh yeah, if it's free, it's
Yeah.
for me.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, don't pay.
Well,
Don't pay to go see it.
And because we looked it up the other day, the last couple movies, as far as like Pixar, there was what? There was Encanto, Luca, Raya and the Last Dragon. But those 3 movies all came out within the same year, within like what, 3 to 5 months of each other?
Yeah, I think there was like a 5-month and then a 4-month gap, so they pushed out 3 in the calendar year, and
To me, kind of like it feels like they're just trying to get more out. Rather, like they're going now for quantity over quality.
well, yeah, I think, and we were talking about this the other day. I actually think that COVID happened.
Right.
And, so the dynamic of the movie theater obviously died for a while because you couldn't go.
Not for us.
And so, well, yeah, we had
best
Alamo.
time.
We had Alamo here at the time, and they stayed open through it. And, like, they wore these, like, photon-looking packs, like the Ghostbusters
forgot
wear.
about that.
Yeah, that's what they had the steam. They would steam clean it after every...
Which they already should have.
Well, they absolutely should have, but that was, like, their way to stay open through COVID. And so, yeah, you would go to the movie theater and be the only 2
It was
people
awesome.
in there because everybody's
Massive
like
Phantasm,
scared.
Hocus Pocus,
Oh yeah,
The
all
Thing. Oh,
all
great.
kinds of Empire Strikes Back. I
Yep.
took my kids to see that in the theater, and it was the first time they actually liked it.
Well, because it's a different experience.
Yeah, and so like I think that's why I love movies so much, and going to the theater is because you're in
Yeah.
the world, you're
Well, it's
immersed
like
in the
you have to pay
sound,
attention.
and you're there for the movie, so you're not getting
Right.
up, you don't have your device or whatever. But yeah, that all changed, and I think studios were apprehensive to produce anything. They're
Well,
like,
for
"Well,
sure.
we know we're not going to make our $500 million at the box office because there is no
Well,
box office."
Well,
so
especially too if it's like like if something like that happens again, then it's like, well, cool, we just wasted all this money now to have a project that's going to sit for however long.
right, and that is actually, I think at the time, that project for Marvel was Black Widow.
Yes, yeah, Black Widow got fucked.
I think that's the one that got affected the most by COVID, and I mean, it
The movie
wasn't
itself,
bad,
I didn't think it was terrible,
but it wasn't great, and
no, but I expected a middle of the road film, and that's what I got.
sure, but I don't know that COVID really
I don't
hurt
think,
it.
No, I
think
think
it-
it was just.
I think if it came out,
I think that it was going to get the same reception regardless.
yeah. So that, but a lot of studios had spent money, like you said. They had projects in queue. They had stuff that they were working on that all
Right.
just kind of died. And so then you get phenomenons happening, like that stupid ass Tiger King.
Oh God, yeah.
And so, like, I still haven't watched that show.
It's not good.
I'm from Florida.
Yeah, it's not good.
With all reasonability, that guy could have been my neighbor.
Probably.
I don't need to watch a show about Floridians. I know what it is like. And so when everybody was going crazy for this, I'm like, dude, that's what I grew up with. I grew up down the road from Gibsonton, Florida, which they call it Gibton
Ooh.
because that's where the carnival people live in the off season.
With
So
their summer
like
teeth.
Lobster Boy was a neighbor of mine.
Jesus.
Yeah. So like when Tiger King and people are going crazy for this stuff, and
You're
I'm
like, it was a Tuesday for me.
yeah, I'm like, that's just every day. And it made me realize there is so much crappy content out there. And when people had nothing to do, they were like
Right.
eating it up. And so I think all these studios went, man, we could spend $100 million on a movie, or we could film this jackass in his trailer
Being a jackass.
for $100 and possibly have the same result. So,
Right.
I think it changed the dynamic of how they perceived things.
Well,
and,
yeah.
And then when the world relaunched, then I think they all feel like, oh, we're
Well-
playing catch up.
Yeah.
And they're in this weird chasm of thought where, like, we're producing everything because of COVID.
Right.
And we need as much saturation on our channel because of COVID. And then COVID lets up, and then people go back to being people, and now you have crappy movies because they're like, well, we need to do 3 a year.
Right.
instead of focusing on really one great one.
They do 3 mediocre ones.
Like at least A24, they have an incredibly aggressive agenda on
Yes.
pushing out their movies, but they always stay in their weird box, which makes them unique and fun to
Well,
like
Yeah, and 'cause
possibly love.
we had talked about this the other day too, where it's like, in my opinion, and I think you share the same one, A24 movies are either amazing or terrible. There's not like a really middle of the road where it's like, that one was okay. At least in my opinion, like I either love them or I don't.
Yeah.
But I was talking about this last night with someone too. Like I at least like the fact that A24 will do a unique story.
Yes.
They're not just going to be like, oh, cool, an IP from 30 years ago. We're just going to redo it.
Right.
It's like they're at least being original, and I appreciate that. Whether or not the movie's amazing, it's going to look fantastic. Their cinematography and all that is amazing.
Well, yeah, they do a good job at putting a well shot film down.
Yes.
You know, they do that. But let's. I think that's a good segue for the next movie, because I thought that this next movie was way more original
Oh, for sure.
and fun, and it is Ruby Gillman,
Teenage
Kraken. It's the current project in theaters by DreamWorks, and it is an absolute box office flop, according to what you said.
I believe I'd have to double check.
It was
I'm
like
pretty sure it was saying-
$18 million is what they anticipate making, and I think you said that put them at like $32 million in the red or something ridiculous.
I'll
but
look that up.
But yeah, so they're going to be losing a lot of money on this movie, and that's okay because Disney's last several projects have put them $900 million in the red. So it's not like
Does DreamWorks
everybody's
own
out there
Disney, or is
crushing.
that just Pixar?
No, DreamWorks is not owned by Disney. It might be Illumination
Universal?
Studios that owns them.
Whatever.
But yeah, whatever. Anyway, Ruby Gillman, Teenage Kraken. I saw like a poster for it or something, and I went, "Oh, that could be cool." The idea is new, and so the premise of this movie is there is a family of Krakens, and they have decided to live on Earth with human beings to hide.
Well, they were already on Earth. They were just in the ocean.
Well, yeah, but live with the human beings.
Yeah.
So, and hide from their destiny in the ocean.
Right.
And I don't want to do a lot of spoilers.
Because that one came out pretty recently, right?
I think it's only been out for like a week.
Oh, okay. Really quick to circle back, it looks like $70 million was the budget, and currently with the domestic box office, it's at 7.5.
Okay, so even more. So they stand to lose $60 million on the project currently. I mean, it has only been out for 1 week, so
Right.
maybe it'll pick up and they'll get some
Overall,
money.
though, I mean, compared to Elemental, I know that they're not anywhere near the same as far as like story wise, but as far as if you want to compare it, both kids movies, both animated, Ruby Gillman was way better. It was more fun. It had great jokes. I mean, the story was better because, like you were saying, it's at least more original.
Yeah, it's so basically, and here's the thing: we've been writing stories now for hundreds of years. There's no new ones.
No.
It's just a new twist on an old story.
Well, right.
And
Avatar, Dances with Wolves.
So,
Smurfs,
so
Ferngully.
like, yeah, okay, we got it.
Yeah.
We got it. But they write the story in such a way that it's like what's going to happen, but you're still interested to see like how
Like
it
what's going to unfold.
unfolds.
Yeah.
And at the climactic points, you're like, okay, how's this going to go down?
Well, right.
And to me, I think that's a sign of a good movie is you already know the story, but you want to see it unfold.
Exactly. Well, and like,
And-
I'm trying to remember how it was phrased, but like this was 11 years ago at this point. I took a script writing class when I was going to school, and it was, the teacher's talking about, he's like, oh, like same thing, every story's been written. There's always the enticing incident at the first 30 minutes, exposition, yada, 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 and then, the downfall and then the climax, basically. So they all follow the same pattern. But yeah, like you're saying, it's like, if it's interesting enough, I don't care, because every movie's predictable. People that don't, like when you predict a movie and they're like, how did you know it was going to end like that? I'm like, What do you mean?
That was just the only choice.
Well, exactly. Like, I'm not a writer, but
Yeah, well, and I think that's maybe we watch movies a little differently. Like I'm watching it to enjoy it for sure.
oh, absolutely.
But I also like to be fooled.
Yeah. Oh,
And-
if I can be
and-
fooled, amazing.
So so I'm like looking for that in the theater when I'm watching a movie.
To that point, though, I like being fooled when it's actually in front of my face, not the
yeah.
oh, you're fooled because we're gonna show you a scene that we didn't actually show you at all yet.
Right.
That's like, well, that doesn't count.
Yeah, you can't get all the way to the end and be like, it was this guy that you never saw.
Right.
You're like, well, who would ever figure that out?
Right. But no, I mean, with that movie though, like Will Forte was in that one, Toni Collette, Jane Fonda. Like, I mean, it had a great cast as well.
Yeah.
But
And then wasn't Ruby isn't that Chloe Grace Moretz?
I don't know. No,
Maybe she was in Elemental.
I don't think she was in either. Lana Condor, or Lana, I don't know how she pronounces it. Condor is Ruby Gillman.
I don't know who that is.
That makes two of us.
Yeah.
As far as Elemental, Leo Lewis was Ember. Catherine O'Hara was in that one though. She was the mom of the water guy.
It's that Nimona thing I just watched.
Oh yeah, I haven't seen that one.
Okay,
yet.
never mind. I've watched too many animated movies recently with the kids, which that movie's actually pretty good.
Yeah, I'll have to get around to that one.
Nimona.
That's on Netflix, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
But anyway, yeah. So I think Ruby Gillman is very much worth taking your kids to watch if you have
I
kids.
would just go see it again. I mean, I liked that movie. I thought it was good.
Yeah, I agree. I thought the visuals were really good.
Mm-hmm.
The concept was cool.
Yeah.
It was different, and
It was fun.
yeah. So and it had really, like, what did I write here? It had the socially relevant jokes that were in that movie were way well placed.
Yes.
And it's not like the stuff I feel like everybody's doing right now with the let's find a way to put a meme in there. It's more of the, no offense to the youth, but all of you guys want to die now. Like that's your whole shtick. Life is so hard. I just want it to be over.
Yeah, there's that one girl that's like, what? How do they phrase it? It's like
Catastrophizing.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah. So like, there's very funny humor in it like that I think bridges a gap
Well, and then like
between generations.
I think it's kind of a niche thing, but because like if I have trouble sleeping, sometimes I'll throw it on. But like the whole ASMR bit that they had, I think that's actually kind of funny because it's it's a thing.
Yeah, people do those. So I think they delivered a little bit better on
Relevance.
taking a neat story, keeping it in this time,
Yeah.
we exist in now, and still making it fun.
Right.
And so I would say Elemental, don't go watch. Ruby Gillman, do
Yeah.
go watch.
How did you phrase it? If it's free, it's for me.
If it's free, it's for me. Yeah.
For Elemental, for
Yeah.
sure. Ruby Gillman, I would definitely go pay to see it.
I think it's worth it.
I agree.
I really do. And then you might, like, even Apple TV, sometimes they do the thing where you can buy it
Like on a
while it
bundle.
is still in the theater.
Oh, cool.
So if you don't want to go spend all the extra money on taking your kids and stuff to the theater, buy it at home, put some popcorn in front of them, and enjoy it there, because I think it's solid.
Like I said, I would definitely see that one again. Speaking of original movies, Indiana Jones.
Oh yeah, so Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny.
Correct.
Is that what that one is called?
Yep.
It's the fifth one. Hold on, let me get a prop.
Yeah, right there.
Oh, that's Indy.
Yeah.
So I do love Indiana Jones. I've loved these movies all my life. And I don't even know if you could see those because I'm not looking at the
Top of
camera.
them, you can just
So like,
give it a raise.
I recently got a full set of these Indiana Jones toys from back in the 80s, and they're gorgeous. I love these movies. In college, one of my nicknames I held was Indy, because the fraternity I was rushing at the time thought I was such a jackass because I would do like anything daring.
Well, sure.
Anything daring.
So more like Indy 500.
Yeah. It wasn't. Yeah, I wasn't like a hero. I was just an idiot. And you do. I mean, Indiana Jones. A lot of times, he's so cockstrong the way that he goes about doing stuff. You're like, dude, you're such a moron. Like, you're lucky that you're tough, because it hurts to be stupid.
Right.
But that movie, Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, it starts out in a flashback.
Right.
It's World War II, right?
Yeah. I think they all take place during like World War II, don't they? Because he's always fighting Nazis.
Well, you have to assume that the first two would probably be before World War II, because The Last Crusade is during World War II.
Okay.
And Temple of Doom and Raiders of the Lost Ark
they
would have to be somewhere historically before that.
They could have been like right at like 1939, where like the start of World War II, before like things really started kicking off. Maybe. I don't really know.
I mean, it's somewhere in that World War I to World War II era.
Well, World War I was 1917.
Well, whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm bad at history. I've never. History's not my thing.
Either way.
So
fighting Nazis on a train.
But that, like, it starts with them in a flashback, and so one of the things I've already heard a lot of people talking about this movie is the CGI. It drove them crazy.
So we didn't talk about the movie at all yet. No. So this will be.
So I don't. For me, it's not as bad as everyone said.
No, I thought it looked fine. The one thing that we talked about as far as bad CGI was, so we were both talking and we both just basically it was, what was the one bit of CGI that was bothering you? We both agreed it was the rope.
Yeah, there's a scene where Indy has caught himself in a predicament and he's in a noose.
Yeah.
And the rope looks ridiculous.
The rope looks ridiculously fake.
Yeah, it just looked.
Which is funny because next to obviously a fake Harrison Ford face, because they de-aged him.
Right.
He looks fine.
Yeah.
I didn't think there was any problem. Like there's one scene where he's running at the very beginning, which sure it looks a little janky, but overall it's like 2 seconds. Who cares?
Yeah, like it didn't bother me, but that rope.
The rope bothered.
That bothered the shit out of me.
Because like we both said, just get a real rope.
Yeah, because I'm like, it stuck out like a sore thumb.
Well, yeah.
I'm like, well, dude. It is like you said, it's very bad when you're looking at fake Harrison Ford and the rope bothers you.
Right.
You're like, fuck.
And obviously, you can only do so much. I thought it was a little interesting because, obviously as he's gotten older, Harrison Ford sounds a little different. He just sounds like an old man now. But
yeah,
I thought that was kind of funny because, you've got young Harrison Ford with old Harrison Ford's voice. And I was like, all right. Like, again, I get it. You can only do so much.
Sure.
That's really just nitpicking.
Yeah, I was going to say that honestly, that didn't really register to me that much. But I can see that.
Sure. But, I liked the movie for what it was. It was fine. Again, I think we saw maybe one trailer. I was expecting a very different movie. I was expecting more having to do with, like, time travel.
Yeah, but see, that's always, like, yeah and no.
Like that.
Because a lot of the indie movie is about acquiring
the artifact.
Right.
Well, and maybe that's just the way that I perceived the one trailer that I saw. Because, like, obviously they rather than show it all at once, they kind of like interlace flashback stuff. So I was like, oh, I wonder if it's gonna be they're gonna go back in time, back like a bunch to kind of like try and change things or something like that. But that's not what happened.
Thankfully, they did not do that.
Well, I was say I can see why that can become such a problematic thing.
Yeah, that's why the Marvel Cinematic Universe is falling apart. Is because they have allowed time travel and time-space gaps and canon events and fissures.
We've talked about this before too.
Fucking
but it's
diarrhea.
Like, it's so hard to do a good time travel anything. Back to the Future might be to this day like the one that gets as close to good or as like accurate as it could be.
Yeah.
Because like everything else, it's just like, come on, like it's so ridiculous. Or like, do you remember Looper?
The one with, is that Bruce Willis and the guy with three names?
Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Yeah.
Yeah, but so, like, the movie itself is not bad, but the way it ends when he's like, oh, I'm just going to, kill myself, and he does that, by that point, the whole movie is then irrelevant because none of that stuff would happen.
But that's the point.
I know, but like...
Like, you have to watch 23 hours of that bukkake on screen to realize that he erased himself so that the kid could be alive.
Right, but then
you're like,
in theory, none of the other stuff should have happened.
Yes, and no.
It-
That's
it-
one of those movies where it's like you need a follow-up
Right.
that shows you what actually happened with that kid.
Right.
Because he would not have become evil, so then he would be some sort of force of positivity on Earth, right?
Right.
Or whatever. But they don't. That's like one of those movies that...
It's not bad. It's not. But it has plot holes, like most movies do.
Well, it's weird. I'm usually not an advocate for a sequel. But if you leave something like so open-ended that I want closure,
Yeah.
then I'm like, you should make another movie.
Spider-Verse. Which, I mean,
Yes.
they are, but
Yes.
still.
Yes, and yeah, I mean, we'll see what the third movie does. Like as I said,
Either way, back to Indiana Jones.
yeah. So,
I mean, all things considered, because it's what, like 2 hours, 40 minutes,
156
60.
minutes,
Okay, so
whatever that is. Yeah, 236.
yeah, so call it 240. I mean, I checked my phone once just because I was kind of curious what time it was.
Mm-hmm.
We were 40 minutes from the end of it, so I was like, oh, okay, it's moving decently well. I mean, like I said, it was fun. It's Indiana Jones. It was definitely much better than that pile of shit, Crystal Skulls.
Well, yeah. So that's what I wrote down here that it overall it has more of an indie vibe.
Yes.
And
Well, because they went back to
the
just
Alien
ancient
movie.
artifacts versus aliens.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I liked it. Let's see. Some of the action scenes were more super silly.
I liked them more at the beginning because they felt more indie.
Yeah.
As the movie went on, it was kind of like, all right. Like, again, it's really nitpicking at the end of the day. But I liked the first chunk of the movie. Like, when I liked more like the stuff in the past. I thought that was more interesting.
Yeah, I think that was cool. Probably because that was definitely in the veil of old indie.
Yeah.
Young indie.
Yeah.
And then they flash you forward to him being an old man. And he's a professor.
Right.
Which is...
Well, he's always been.
Yeah, but they show him professing. And
I do think it's kind of funny. I mean, unless my memory is mistaken me, I believe Shia LaBeouf is technically, like, he's confirmed to be his son in the Indiana Jones series.
Okay.
Because, like, I think he was supposed to take over after the fourth one. Clearly, that didn't happen.
Right.
But I thought it was kind of funny how they immediately wrote him out.
Well, yeah, he's dead.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
Like
he
they
went to
said
war
he's
and then
dead.
died.
Yeah. I actually appreciate that they didn't try to pass the torch again.
Yeah. They were just like, nope, it's going to stay with Indy and it's going to end with him.
Yeah, and I mean the girl who is in the story with him.
Oh.
Yeah, not Marion.
Yeah.
His friend's daughter.
Yes. I always forget that guy's name, and I actually really like him as an actor.
The little guy.
Yeah, he was Aram Zola in Captain America. He's been in a lot of stuff, but I think he's great.
Okay, yeah. But I liked her.
Yeah, no, she was great.
And I think she would actually like make a fair
Indiana Jones
Indiana Jones in a way because she had the same like love for
Tenacity
the archaeology
and
just obsession.
Right.
But also
And
a
she
little
kept getting
bit.
herself into squirrely situations.
Yeah, and so I think like I was like, well, they seem to find more of an indie vibe in her than
Right.
Shia LaBeouf. That just felt very forced.
Yeah.
And I don't mind Shia LaBeouf actually. I like him. So
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he's bad. I mean, that's all I'll say about that.
but yeah,
I thought it was funny too because, we were both watching. We're like, who is this?
oh, the villain.
No, because that's Mads Mikkelsen. I knew that.
I don't know his name, but yeah,
Yeah, the guy from Polar.
yeah.
Yeah. He was also Caecilius in Doctor Strange 1. The bad guy in that one. Either way. But so...
Hi, I smoke a whole lot of marijuana.
That's fair. Hi, I don't.
Yeah, great. That's why you remember names.
No, but you'd walk back from the bathroom and then you were like, Antonio Banderas.
Yeah.
Because we were both like, who the fuck is this? Like, because I haven't seen him in so long.
Well, yeah, because he's a captain on this like weird little boat,
Yeah, like a dinghy.
and so they show up to where he's at, and I'm like trying to wait for a good pause to go to the bathroom because I'd hate missing anything.
Right.
And he just shows up and says like a couple words, and I left for the bathroom, and I'm like, I know that voice, And like as I'm standing there thinking about it, and it was like, oh, it's Antonio Banderas.
Yep.
Yes.
And then he came back, and then like he started talking, and I was like, duh, like there it is.
Yeah.
Because like he really had more of like just
The Puss in Boots.
yeah. Fear me if you're there.
Yeah. So like you're like, oh, cool. I love him.
Oh, he's fantastic.
So yeah, I thought the cast was well done.
Yeah. Boyd Holbrook was in it, which I mean, that's the guy that he was in Logan. He was the villain in that one.
Oh, that's the guy you were talking about.
Did you ever watch the Sandman TV show on Netflix?
I watched like 2 episodes.
He's the Corinthian, like the villain in that with the glasses. And the
Yeah,
blonde hair.
kind of
He's got his
remember.
eyes or teeth.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, I mean,
But no, I mean, like I liked him as an actor. I mean, I want to see him in more stuff.
but yeah, he did good.
Yeah.
The whole time I kept looking at him thinking he was Chris Evans from the Gray Man because of his shitty mustache.
Well, that and like
the hair,
somewhat flat top. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, I knew it wasn't him the whole time, but the entire movie, I was like, God damn it, that's all I could think of is Gray Man.
I like that movie too.
Yeah, that movie actually was super solid. It's an action movie.
I also don't mind Ryan Gosling either. Like I think he's a good actor. I think he's funny as shit.
Yeah, so like sometimes I like Ryan Gosling, and sometimes I feel like he just phoned it in. You know,
I feel like that you could say that with any actor, but I get it.
But well, I think it's not any actor.
Wow.
Steve Buscemi's ugly. He can't ever phone it in.
He's got to work.
Yeah, he's got to work. But Ryan Gosling, I mean, depending on the role, he could just show up, and it's like, I'm here.
Yeah, Drive.
Yeah. Do you even talk in that for
I
like?
think he's got one line.
He talks at one point to the girl in her apartment.
I got to be honest. I think I started watching it years ago. Got distracted, never went back.
It's actually a solid movie, and it has
Everyone says
Oscar
it's
Isaac
great.
in it.
Oh no shit.
Yeah, Oscar Isaac is like that's how he ends up getting into trouble.
Okay.
So he starts to help Oscar
I like
Isaac.
Ryan Gosling. I like Oscar Isaac. I'm sure I will like that movie.
Bryan Cranston's in it.
Oh well, god damn it! Now, yeah.
Yeah, dude, it's worth watching.
What were we talking? Was it? It's a Wes Anderson movie, right? Was that Atomic City?
The new one coming out?
Yeah, or Meteor City, Asteroid City.
Something like that.
Was that the one with Bryan Cranston in it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know nothing about that, but
Yeah.
I'm like, it's Wes Anderson. I'm gonna go see it.
Yeah, I was reading about that in Empire magazine yesterday, and I mean the concept of it. It sounds like they're kind of doing a documentary of this 1950s town, and also testing nuclear warheads. Or no, an asteroid shows up, an alien show up, and they're doing this documentary.
Okay.
Whatever it is, it sounded barbarically stupid and awesome.
Well, it's Wes Anderson.
And
Yeah.
I was like, I have to
dude, Moonrise Kingdom.
see that. So I actually haven't seen that yet.
Really?
Yeah, I haven't seen.
Oh, dude, Moonrise Kingdom's great. Rushmore.
Of course,
Yeah.
but yeah, so that we're gonna start doing like a director day because
Oh,
it's like hard to capture everything that somebody awesome did, and you know you could run down because he's also Fantastic Mr. Fox,
Fantastic Mr. Fox, Isle of Dogs,
Zizu,
yeah,
Tenenbaums.
Aquatic Royal Tenenbaums, Grand Budapest Hotel. I know he's. I mean, yeah, Rushmore, Moonrise Kingdom. I know he's done a bunch of other stuff. I just can't think of them.
But yeah, so
Guy Ritchie.
But yeah, there are directors that it's just like their body of work. I dig it all, so it's worth talking about it all at one time.
Yeah.
You know. But let's quickly go back. What's that guy's name? Mads Mikkelsen?
Mads Mikkelsen.
Is that what you called him? The movie Polar.
The movie's awesome.
With him in it is such a sleeper. It just like I don't know how.
Came out what 2019.
Sounds about right, but like I just stumbled on it on Netflix.
I think that was also technically like. I mean, it's not a box office because it's a Netflix thing, but I think that was technically also a flop.
It wouldn't surprise me because depending on how they advertised it, well, it's also a comic movie.
Yeah, from Dark Horse.
Yeah, and so like it's almost like comic movies have this looming black cloud over them where like you have such a high expectation for it and then they underdeliver.
Which you should never have a high expectation for a comic movie.
I agree.
Like,
But-
just go in expecting stuff to blow up, have a fun time. Superheroes.
But Polar is awesome.
I like that movie a lot.
It's awesome. It's a great revenge tale.
And then, God.
And he's just a badass.
Oh, absolutely.
Like-
I don't remember what else the guy's been in. I think he was in like a couple episodes of Community and Doctor Who. I think he might be one of the current hosts for Great British Bake Off, but the fat bald guy. like the villain in the movie, the one that like contracts all them out.
Oh, the albino looking dude.
Yeah, but,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
His fucking run when they're torturing Matt Mickelson, and he's like sauntering away like this, like he's like running, but he's really just like dragging his feet.
He's chubby shuffling.
I don't even know if I'd call it that. Like
He's thigh gliding. He's he's yeah. Nobody runs like that.
But it's like it's not even a run. He's like just fast. He's slow fast walking is the best way I can think to describe it.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
Like, oh, it's
You know.
absolutely insane.
The orthopedic shoe shuffle.
That yeah, no, that's probably the best way to describe it. Like,
I got squishy toes.
well, that's probably, he ain't got them toes.
No, the diabetes
Betas.
took those.
Yeah.
It took those away. But anyway, so with that being said, there's a lot of movies in here that we talked about today. There's a lot of stuff that you guys can go watch or not watch based on this. And I think with that being said, that the movie episode's done.
Yeah, I would
for
say
the
so.
day.
Ruby Gillman, go see it.
Yeah, Ruby Gillman, super sleeper. I promise. If you don't like it,
You're wrong.
well, if you don't like it, let me know.
Well, yeah.
And let's talk about why. I like discourse. I don't like everybody agreeing with everything. So
Well, yeah, it was like when we said that we didn't. I mean, just like to wrap it up, but like when we were saying that like we had issues with Spider-Verse, everyone's been saying it's fantastic. Not that it's not good. We just had issues with it.
right. Yeah, I'm not just going to tell you it's good because everybody else says it is.
Right.
I would rather deal with the backlash of you telling me why you think it's so good when I don't,
Right.
than people saying you gave a shit review that's not true.
Well, yeah.
like
Well, I mean, you worked at Blockbuster for how long?
a lot of years.
Yeah, so
yeah.
you're used to it.
Yeah, I've been watching lots and lots of movies for a long time.
Yeah.
So, but peace.
Bye.
Do the YouTube thing, like, subscribe, comment, feedback, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Later.